adding some stuff and fiddle around and different people putting in different things to use it. So we don't want to dumb anything down with it, but we want to take out unnecessary complexity where there's weirdness going on, where you're not actually getting any fun or making any good decisions out of it. You're just having more numbers to shove around. So we are looking at that stuff, and I think it probably will be that a lot of things that are capped out and becoming useless to you, we're going to find some way to make it worth collecting if we're putting out gear for you.
Okay. My other question in regards to reactives. I know a lot of gear, especially high-end gear, has a lot of ward procs, and there's a lot of wards going around in the raid, and most of the time the tank stays at 100% health. But every time a tank takes any sort of damage, even if he's at 100% health, it still takes a reactive down. Is there any way to do like a check to see if a tank or a person's at 100% health and not use up a reactive?
Yeah, that's something we'd have to look into. Yeah, it's probably deep in the spell system and depends on, what spells trigger first and that sort of thing. So it could be complex to solve that problem, but we can certainly give it some thought.
As a bard, I was wondering if we could get an AA line where we could give up a concentration slot for one of our concentration spells.
Definitely an option that I can look into for Veli's Ace.
Okay, I have a Necron Warden that I play, and someone mentioned this earlier, but since the mages get the Cure Arcane, you said that it's used to cure yourself more, and the problem is that half the arcanes are either a stun, cipher, or mez, or a combination of the both, so we can't actually cure ourselves with it. Would it be possible that we could cast it while we're stunned or something?
I haven't given that any thought, but I definitely will now.
And my other question is the Druid AA Serenity. With SF, we got a bonus to cure Stifle or make us immune to Stifle, yet if we're Stifled, we can't actually cast it.
That's a bug, and we're looking into it.
Thank you.
I have two questions. First question is, Wizards are ranged DPS, and you've given us Fusion and a couple other spells that we have to use within 5 meters. Anytime you get up within 15, 20 meters of a mob, if you don't have a healer following you, you're dead.
Welcome to the Rangers world.
Fusion and a couple of the other spells require really close range are balanced based on being dangerous to cast. By being close to it, Fusion can be more powerful and hit for quite a bit of damage.
Okay, that may be the case, but take Ice Comet. It's just as powerful, so why take one and make it close range when we're ranged DPS?
Ice Comet hits one target while Fusion hits 3, so it's pretty...
I can hit harder with Ice Comet. That's not good, y'all. Part number 2. This is kind of class related. Anytime you go into a group, into a zone, say you have your 6 different people. Why do we ever get loot that don't drop for those 6 people that did the work? I know it's supposed to be smart loot, but hey, come on, let them talk.
Yeah, for Velius, we definitely want to look into more smart loot options. Going back and addressing those in Sentinel's Fate, I think wasn't...
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that ends up getting muted that really can be used by other players, but the people that are actually doing the work to get the loot can't use it.
That's one of those tough balance things. I mean, before smart loot, part of the encouragement of playing the game was having to do some repetitive tasks, kind of kept you wanting to go back and do it. There was a little bit of a draw there. So we've added smart loot, and now, you guys are wanting it more and more. So we still kind of have to maintain that balance between making sure you're rewarded when you do something, but also giving you a reason to go back and do things again. So it's kind of a tough line to walk, but that's sort of the reason for not just making everything 100% smart.
Well, yes, you get something for your class, doesn't mean it's going to be the same thing every time. It don't have to be the top of the line of the loot chart. But it should be class-oriented for the people that are running that thing. Whether they even have it already or not, that's beside the point. It should be within the people that are doing the work.
So, I couldn't hear you, but what I'll say is we're definitely aware of it, and we want to do more of that kind of thing in Velius, and the reason that we can't exactly do it for Sentinel's Fate is because a lot of items weren't built in a way that they can look at the item to decide how to be smart about it, because it's for way more classes than it might be intended for. Yeah. But yeah, we definitely want to start looking at that more.
Alright, going back to Rangers, you said you want Rangers to be ranged, yet half our combat arts are melee. Is there any way to look at those combat arts and make them into ranged arts instead of having them melee?
We're still in discussions about those specific abilities. While you level up, it's hard if you had no melee combat arts, so we have more discussion about those abilities.
One of the mechanics that I found troubling and sort of counterintuitive is the fact that spells and combat arts interrupt your auto attack. Now, some people might see this as a measure of whether you're a bad or a good player, but a lot of times it just comes down to whether or not you've downloaded an UI modifier to give you a swing timer. Is there any possibility of changing this such that, you know, it's counterintuitive that I press this button and my DPS is going down? Can we change it such that swings continue whether or not you're casting or using CAs?
Well, the problem is that change alone would have a lot of balance ramifications, right? I mean, certain classes would get really buffed up by that change, while other classes would see no change at all. So it's always something we could look at, but you know, we're trying to keep things balanced, and that could really throw a big wrench in the works if we were to make that change. We'd have to really look at all the classes across the board, and that might mean, you know, I don't want to say the word nerf, but it might mean nerfing some classes down to make up for the extra amount of auto attack damage you would get from that change. So,
I understand that might require nerfing. However, it's especially troubling for newer players. And like I have talked to other people, they've played 70 levels and still don't know this until they hit a forum or something. Yeah. And in the interest of growing the game, this might be a change that might make the game more accessible to more people.
Well, we are looking at maybe putting the auto attack bar into the UI as sort of short-term type thing, but I mean, we hear what you're saying, and we're always looking at ways we can make combat better. So, you know, we'll keep that in mind. Maybe there's other solutions or other ways that we can make combat not so spammy so that you're not interrupting your auto attack. You know, there's a couple things there we can look at.
Yeah, we'll definitely also look at that. If that's an intentional piece of combat where we want you to pay attention to your swing timer and work around it, then we'll look at the UI and make sure that the things you need to make that a piece of meaningful gameplay are actually there. And if that's not an intentional piece of combat after we look at it, then we'll make a change the other way.
My question was about if you have TSO armor that's 80 and has a 20% crit mint on the pants, we're not getting many pants because the brawlers seem to get all the pants. We got like 30 brawler pants, and the scouts and tanks are not getting any pants at all. I was wondering, that 20%, is that still calculated into the level 90, or is it downgraded?
The crit mint is not on a rating system, so 20% is 20%.
So it's not contested?
Right, it's 20% on a level 80, 20% on level 90, it's the same thing.
Awesome.
Hi, I play a necromancer, and I was wondering if it would be able, for the swarm pets, like the dumbfire pets, the dots, could you make them AoE avoid, because they just die immediately in any raid zone or anything. Like, there's no reason